So what's going on in Dimgaard today? Well, I'm Dan, and thanks for checking it out. Obviously, the big thing is we just dropped volume 24 on Kickstarter. It's 3 episodes of Encounters with Gold, 5, 6, and 7, and 4 episodes of Tyranny in Purple. You can read all about that on Kickstarter. I'll have a. You can just go to Kickstarter.com and search for Dimgaard. So that's the big thing. That's my right. So I'm really out there. If you're wondering how you can help that, if you think how can I help Dimgaard, which would be great, I can tell you. So what we know now, and it's not just us. This is like confirmed everywhere. You have the traditional channels of advertising, and that could be in print, right? Which we don't really do any hard copy. We're all online, but you know things like placed banner ads or those type of things. Those are cheap, but they're ineffective. Right? The price has dropped dramatically because it is now so well documented how ineffective they are. So, and we're doing that. We're doing AdWords and placed banner ads, but what we see is that targeted social media is the way to go. So you have paid for placed ads, then you have targeted social media. But at the upper echelon, the most effective advertising or the most effective way to drive interested users to a thing. In our case, we're talking about volume 24 or our Patreon, right? Same thing. Is unsolicited social media posts, right? So if you are a follower of Dimgaard, you like Dimgaard, you think, well, I would really like to help Dimgaard in a way that's not going to cost me anything except for maybe a few minutes. Then go out to Facebook and post a link and a comment to your timeline or to one of the D&D groups that you are a member of. And that helps. That is the most effective thing that you can do to drive for Dimgaard. It is even, I mean, it's the most effective thing. Go into Reddit, go to one of the D&D Reddit subreddits and post a link with either to the Patreon or to the Kickstarter. That's going to help. That's going to be seen by several thousand people, and the fact that you're doing it in an unsolicited or an unpaid, I guess I'm soliciting now, but an unpaid advocate is huge. So that's the big thing. Getting the word out about volume 24. We are also in the early development. So like we just got the play testing out there for the next series after Tyranny in Purple comes to an end. We should finish play testing the final chapter. Well, it depends on what Christmas does, but by the end of this month, and it will be the final chapters in that will be offered in February. So in March, we'll be offering a new series, and I'll give you a hint or a spoiler or a teaser or whatever you want to call it. It's going to revolve around Warlocks. I've always liked Warlocks. In Xanathars, I like the Warlock things that they've done there. And it also has a basis in Dimgaard in that Asmodeus, Orcus, and Gratz have all had significant presences in Dimgaard, and that's all going to be those are all good Warlock patrons. Now we have a celestial patron, so we have a third element that's going to complicate things, so we're going to do that. That'll run like 6 months of volumes. They'll be present in 6 months of the volumes. And And along those lines, we are light on playtesters. We would like to add new playtesters. The problem we have is that we get a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I'll run a module. And if you don't get us notes back in a timely fashion, it does us no good, right? If you run a Dimgaard 5 times, a module 5 times, and that doesn't do us any good if we don't get notes back from you. So we have an attrition rate of over 95%, like maybe 1 in 20 people who play test a Dimgaard module or 2 eventually either quit or get kicked because they don't get the consistent notes back to us. And that's, you got to have a consistent game. It doesn't have to be weekly because we have material that isn't weekly in nature, right? We have one-offs like that are aligned to our content. And so, we're even looking for playtesters for those. So if you could just do a 1 play test a month, that would be great. But we've got to have those notes, right? Just like you got to have a consistent game, and you got to play that game, and you've got to give us feedback like right after that game, while it's fresh on your mind, while it's still in development, and we can address the strengths and the weaknesses. And that's just where that's where, like I say, we've gone through over 50 play testers who just couldn't do that. So, but if you are one of those people, if you're running a consistent game, and you would like to help us play test Dimgaard, and playtesting does have the gratification that you have a heavy influence in the campaign, right? So, my playtests often end up, well, I say often, I sometimes end up with my PCs going a certain direction, and then the other 2 playtesters will say, well, we went in a completely different direction. And I can say, oh yeah, I see how that happened, and we can we can adjust the adventure to the most likely set of events, and that's what becomes canon. So yeah, that's something that's weighing. Although again, volume 24 is the big one, is the thing that we're really hitting hard right now, and it'll be that way. Also, yeah, one other thing, I sent out a bunch of emails to people who had been multiple backers of previous volumes, asking them, but weren't in the last volume. And I was asking them, like, why is that? Is there something that we could do to improve? And I have to say that it was very flattering, the responses we got. By far, the most common response is like, well, you guys just produce so much. It's all good, but I've just got way more than I'm going to be using for a while. And when I'm caught up, I'll come back in. That was, like I say, of the many dozens of emails that I sent for people in that category, well over half, that was the who responded. A lot of people just didn't respond. People are busy. It's holidays. They get an email from a guy who they don't really know, and like, yeah, I'm not going to answer this. And that's fine. I don't take it personally. I do the same thing, right? I get emails every day. I don't answer them all, even if it's from someone I know tangentially or about a product that I'm familiar with. You just get so much email. So I really do appreciate the ones who did reply and gave me, information. Some of it was actually very useful. Like, it wasn't even in one of the top 3 reasons, but there was a repeated thing where people were like, well, I just got lost. Like you have so many stories going at the same time, and I didn't know. So I'm trying to figure out how to address that. it was I put together a very quick document as a stretch goal on 23 that kind of outlined the story, how the modules flowed, right? And I think I can improve that and just put it out as a free document on drive-through to link everything to show how the different stories interact with each other. So that's what's going on with me today. Thanks again for taking a look at Dimgaard. Hope you jump on that volume 2024. As always, feel free to comment, contact me directly, and I reiterate the most influential thing that you can do to drive new people to Dimgaard are independent posts in your social media channel. So if you can take a minute to post to a link in Facebook to either your timeline or to one of the D&D groups that you're on Facebook, that helps. If you can, like I said, Reddit, in-world, all of those type of things are good channels to get the word out, and I would appreciate that. Thanks a lot.